Welcome to Heartbeat of Holliston. In our continuing series on the organizations and the committees that make Holliston a great town, today we're talking to Steve Durning from the Cultural Council. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
So, tell us about the Cultural Council. Basically, how is it organized, or what's its mission?
Its mission is to bring as much good or as much value to the people of Holliston through art and culture as it can. It's funded directly from state government funds. I think every town in Massachusetts, if they can organize themselves and have such a committee, gets funds like this. And they pay for grants, which people or organizations apply for. And our committee reviews those grants, says yay or nay, and how much, only 80%, or, and then the performances or the programs happen here in town.
Oh, that's very interesting. So how long have you been doing this?
Oh, I have, I think, almost 3 years I've been with the Cultural Council, although I've only been the chairperson for since about January.
So you get money from the state, and about how much of money do you have for 2022, for instance?
Well, for our last cycle, which ended at the end of 2021, it was $7,400, and and we don't know what it'll be for the upcoming year, because we give those grants. They take place in 2022, but the new cycle starts up. Like the new deadline, in other words, for grant applications will be, it's usually October 1st, something like that.
So how does this work? How do you find artists or performers to get these grants?
Good question. And I feel like a bit of a beginner, but I'll do my best with these questions. So far, it seems they find us. The word has gotten out among artistic groups and artists throughout the state that these grants are available. In some of the bigger towns and cities in Massachusetts, the grant is quite sizable, and they support big efforts. So it's very much worth these organizations' time to know about us. I suppose if we needed to, I know sometimes the group reaches out. I've been a part of at least one group where someone said, "Why don't you apply for a Cultural Council grant?" And we're like, "Oh, yeah, okay." But mostly we get enough people applying to where we don't have to do outreach.
Oh, that's interesting. Give me an example of someone who's applying. Is it just a person? What's the usual makeup of that?
Okay. Typically, we have a few kind of returning customers. One would be the library. I think they have other sources for these programs, but we're one of their sources. Someone's going to give a talk on how the color barrier in baseball was broken. And the librarians believe in it, and we get the proposal, and we're like, of course, we love the library's programs. The Historical Society will put in grant applications. The Senior Center is probably numerically gets the most programs from us because they have these individual artists come in and give these very nice concerts at the luncheons that they have for the seniors at the Senior Center. In addition, the schools turn to us. Let's say the middle school 7th grade English teachers want a theater group to come in and do a kind of version of Romeo and Juliet, because that's what they're studying. They would come to us. Sometimes there's a new kind of, there's a diversity program that was kind of too complicated for me to follow exactly, but it was a good program, and we funded it. It can be anything that comes under the rubric of arts or culture. The Parks and Rec, they might have a concert at Goodwill Park.
Oh, yeah, because they do them all summer.
Yeah, we might be paying for one or two of those.
Wow, so you really have a wide reach of different organizations and different age groups then.
It would be sad if this program wasn't there, because that many more things, really worthwhile programs for the artists
Right.
and for the recipients of their art would go by the board.
Yeah, that's really, I didn't realize that you funded so many different things.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting some.
So what programs are coming up this year?
Well, I'm going to consult my notes if you
Sure.
don't mind. I think the next one that's happening is, it's not open to the public, but it is open to the middle school. That's where it's taking place. And I know he's performed there before, and he got very good reviews. I'm not going to say despite this title. I think the students love it. It's called Chainsaws, Cheeseburgers, and Rock and Roll. And I think it's basically a funny, motivational talk about following your dreams and not settling and following your passions and things. He sculpts things out of wood with chainsaws.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That'd be fun to watch.
And he's very dynamic.
Yeah.
That's the 22nd. On the 28th, there is going to be a performance or concert at Goodwill Park by Matt York. It's called Songs and Stories, The Highwaymen. So I don't think I've listened to any of his. There's a way that I have access to these beforehand when we're considering the grant.
Sure.
But I'm sure it's folk music and stories, and I'm sure it's good. And let's see. This is, sometimes we accept grants from towns that border ours because very conceivably our Holliston people would attend them. There are classical music things that happen that where all the towns are pitching in because it's kind of expensive to have like a whole orchestra, that kind of thing. At the Hopkinton Center for the Arts on July 30th, they're having one of their very fun summer programs. If you go to their website, they have all kinds of stuff happening there.
Yeah,
and it's
they
close
do.
to Holliston. And anyway, if you go that night, I think they give, and you say you're from Holliston, they give you some swag or something.
Oh, yeah. They have like a Holliston night.
Exactly, the Holliston night.
Okay, and
there.
you're contributing to that.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And so if I'm an artist or if I'm a group, how do I apply? Is there a website, or how do we connect? How do they connect with you?
Yes. Okay. There are a couple of ways. On the Holliston Town website, if you find your way through the links, you'll find the Holliston Cultural Council, and they'll have a link there that links you up with the Massachusetts Cultural Council, which of course is in Boston.
Yeah.
Or you can put into the computer Massachusetts Cultural Council, and they'll definitely have links there that explain where you go. The grant writing process, it's not intimidating.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
You don't have to be a lawyer by any means. You just have to know what your program is, talk about it straightforwardly and not at extreme length, but and then you just follow directions and fill in the boxes. And then they automatically put it at a site where all of our members can read through all the grants. We can communicate, we can and do communicate with people through that website, although I end up communicating with them on my own as well.
So the committee reviews the grants, and then do you also talk to the artist and the person applying for the grant, or you must have a lot of communication to see in your decision process?
Actually, no. And I think the people who apply, I think they know this about us, that if we want more information, all we have to do is give us the link that they provide, because they have a website, and we could see the juggler juggling.
Okay.
If we wanted,
Yeah.
if we wanted to,
Yeah, you don't want a bad juggler.
Right. So yes, they always give evidence of what they're doing. It might be a video,
Sure.
things like that. But another, I hope this isn't too much of a secret, but the fact is, almost all the grant proposals make sense. Occasionally, for reasons we could go into, we'll say, no. But most of them are very worthwhile. So sometimes, in my experience, what happens is we say yes to almost everyone, and then we decide in a separate meeting, the second meeting, how much to give them.
Oh.
And maybe, so for example, this year, we fully funded, I think, 15 out of the 18, because they had asked for relatively little amounts. And the 3 groups that asked for more, I think we funded them sort of 2/3 of the way. So in other words, we usually don't put ourselves up as arbiters of quality. You know, if the senior center tells us they want this person, we say yes.
I get
or
it.
if the senior center doesn't like someone, they won't support them.
I see.
We're getting some people doing our job of filtering.
I get it. Great.
Yeah.
So what's the best thing about being on the Cultural Council?
You can't help but end up feeling like you're friends with the other people on the council, and that's fun. It was too bad when the pandemic came, of course, because of the Zoom isn't as good.
Right.
But so that's good, and you meet people who you didn't otherwise know. But beyond that, I didn't really take too much time to do this until I became the chairperson. But when I can, I attend the performances, and when I do, I really get more motivated to keep doing this program because I realize that's a great performance, and these people are into it.
Yeah.
And art is awesome.
It is. It is. And I know that you also have some high school members on your council as well?
Yes. We a couple of years ago, just a little bit after we started, actually, we had the idea of seeing if we could get some people from the high school to apply to be student members.
Great. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess there's a regulation that says you can't vote on things unless you're 18 and above.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it so happened that the people we wanted to get one junior and one senior, they were too young to be voting members. But they came faithfully, and they gave us their opinions and their wisdom. And we talked about, it hasn't happened yet, but we said to them we didn't want them to be bored just sitting there, not being even able to vote, because you vote a lot in these committees. You vote on everything. Should we stop the meeting? Yeah, let's vote. We said, how about, you could put in grants and do something. Because the students who had applied and were members, they were go-getters. But in fact, those projects haven't as yet happened. But I think that the people whose resumes look excellent, there's a reason for it, because they're so busy. And to take on a whole other project,
Right.
Yeah.
So why should I join the Cultural Council? Tell me about the membership and how do you get involved?
Okay, so why and how? On the why, I am not an expert in the legalities of the situation, but we are talking about the government, we are talking about money, and so there are rules and bylaws and things. And my understanding is that we have to have 9 people on this committee, and we don't at this time have 9 people. I think, in some sense, if we don't have 9 people, it's not clear to me that we can continue to give out these grants. And now, I might be wrong about that, but that's the impression that I have. And that would be bad.
Right.
That would be bad for the artists. That would be bad for the people who are getting the good of their performances. And I hate that thought. The state government is saying, here's money. And the amount of money, it's not huge, but it's not nothing. So to let it go by would make me feel terrible. So it's all about my feelings. No. As to why people should join. No, if it's for the sake of the quality of life in our town.
Yes, it seems like it has contributed a lot to all different areas in the town, all different ages over the years. And like you said, it's money that's gifted from the state. So you are right now. You don't have enough members. Are you looking for members?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes. And in fact, I hope everyone listening to this program wants to join. Because I don't think we were limited to 9. And
Sure.
people, the terms are 3 years, and people are always going off. So we always need a new influx. As for the how, it's pretty simple. You write a letter addressed to the select board. Dear select board, you don't have to sell yourself. You don't have to do anything fancy. You just say in an honest, direct way why you're interested in being a member. And the select board, I've never known them to say no, says, okay, great. So that's step 1.
So you have to get nominated by the select board, or you
I'm not exactly sure of the terms, but I know that you hand that to the town clerk, your letter, and then you get a letter from them saying, great, go on to the next step. So the next step is is you go to a link, and the town clerk will kind of coach you through this, or I will, I'm happy to. You go to a link which gives you an online mini course on state laws about conflict of interest.
Oh, sure.
Because where there's money being given out, they have to be very careful. But again, it's not difficult. The test is not designed to make people fail. It's designed to be educated, to
Right.
make them sure that you know what the rules are. And then they give you a certification, a one-page certification. If you do it on the computer, it's just a PDF they give you to print out. I'm sure they'd mail one too. And then you bring that to the town hall, they sign you in, and then you're in.
Okay. And how often do you meet?
We meet once a month. Currently, it's the third Wednesday of the month. However, we're flexible. If you can't meet Wednesday, we need you. And yeah.
Well, okay. I think that, as I said, this council has performed a lot of good in town for a long time, and I really hope that our talk will inspire some people to join your council and bring art and culture continuing to Holliston.
Well, thank you so much for having me here and allowing me to make my pitch, and it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Steve. Our pleasure as well.
Thank you.
For Heartbeat of Holliston, this is Chris O'Lawless.